Hello everyone, hello, welcome to Streams of Collective Consciousness. I stream every Tuesday and Friday from 4 to 6:30 Central Time. I jumped on a bit early today, but if you're new here, I talk about sustainable fashion, environmentalism, and social justice, and I always work out of a Canva deck just to keep myself a bit organized. So this is what I use on every live stream. So I'm super excited to get into all the things that have been happening. There's just a bit of stuff here and there. So here is the schedule. Basically, I talk about sustainable fashion in the beginning at 4. Hello, Faye. Welcome. But then I also talk about other fashion news. So I take most of the time to talk about sustainable fashion. And then at the end, I do like social issues and then like any like fun fashion stuff. I started off pretty early today just because I've been a bit antsy. I haven't been on in a bit. If you guys ever want me to talk about anything, I have this form that you can fill out. It's in my description. And I'll always just look at it and then cover it for the next week or the next live stream. So in this case, it'll be on Friday that I'll look at this and then showcase anything that I find interesting. And then if you guys are ever curious about who I am, this is who I am. They're just kind of titles that doesn't really mean anything, but I'll have you look at that if you want while you see if the audio's fine. Wait. I'm trying to get the audio. It's like too quiet. Whatever. I'll just keep it like that. But yeah, I jumped on early today. Probably gonna stay on later as well, as long as my computer will stay on. That's fine with me. But to get into the personal section of the live stream. It was recently my birthday, and with that came actually a lot of changes. I turned 28 actually, and there's just been so many ups and downs. I recently made a podcast episode on my time. I had little gifts coming to me. So this like Hello Kitty mug, super cute. So I'm probably gonna use this a lot during live streams. I'm not in the habit of using it, so I use like a very ugly cup. But yeah, I got this for my 28th birthday. I love Hello Kitty. I got other miscellaneous things. Let's see. They're all over here. Like this is an artisanal doll. I'm super into artisanal things. So I'm probably gonna have this somewhere in my room. It's just a super cute little artisanal woman holding her kid. And it's all handmade. It's like hand woven. You can't really see the stitches in the camera. But yeah, I covered my birthday in my podcast and show this in my podcast episode. But I'm really trying to get into like artisanal fashion. I really think it's important in the midst of the issues in the fashion industry. I also have a bunch of books that I want to be reading. One of them is Plant-Based Beauty. This is by Jess Arden. I got it from the library. And yeah, I really want to get into clean beauty this spring and just try to not put as much chemicals onto my face, because you don't really know what you're putting on your face when you buy from like store brands. And then what else am I reading? Oh, I actually got Twitch for Dummies on the library. This is like a birthday gift for me for some reason, but I'm reading Twitch for Dummies just to learn how to live stream. I barely know what I'm doing on YouTube, so imagine if I like actually stream not only on YouTube but on Twitch at the same time. That's something I'm trying to figure out. And then I also got this book, Africa's Fashion Dysphoria. I got this at a Africa fashion collection at the Field Museum in Chicago. It was a really great time. I most likely will make a vlog of the fashion collection that I saw, but basically it featured a bunch of like African fashion designers and their work, a bit of history of just the colonialization in Africa and how it affected their fashion industry, and just how Western fashion has just dominated and absorbed so many different cultures, unfortunately. But this was bought at their like little store after the end of the collection, and it just basically shows like different fashion designers and their work. It's like a picture book basically. I don't know if you can see that. So that's super cool. Let me open it to a different page. But yeah, I'm super interested in learning more about African fashion and the history of African, you know, trade and stuff. It has a lot of historical bits here and there. It talks about textiles and prints, and just the story of the designers is really cool to see, the symbolism, the artistry. So that's something that I really do want to read. And yeah, what else did I do and get? I went and got this as well, Power to the People. It says The World of the Black Panthers. It's also pretty much a what's it called? A picture book, but it talks about the history of the Black Panthers and has great imagery. So that's super cool. I've never really seen pictures of the Black Panthers. I've only read about them. So yeah, that's really it that I've done. Oh wait, why isn't it on full camera? Maybe this should be like a full camera moment. Just camera. Oh my gosh, you can see my entire setup. But yeah, basically it's like a picture book like that. More pictures of the Black Panthers, like their office they set up. Is that the same page I was on? So yeah, that's a really cool picture book. Oh, look at this. Their Black Panther office. It's right there, or this one over there. So yeah, that's kind of what I did. Oh my god, you can see me looking at myself. But let me go back on the normal one. But yeah, that was a bit about me and my birthday. I've been dealing a lot with personal things. I actually started a receptionist job. It didn't work out though. Just because it was like so hectic. They wanted me to be a medical receptionist and deal with patients with dementia. And I literally had to prevent some of them from leaving the building because they're not allowed. And if I hadn't been trained, I probably wouldn't have recognized them, and they probably would have walked out of the building and they could have gotten hurt. So that was just a bunch of responsibility for me, just because I was just a general receptionist and I don't have medical like training, and it's just a lot to deal with dementia patients. So I decided to leave within like 2 weeks, just because I don't feel like it's the responsibility of a receptionist to prevent dementia patients from leaving a building and recognizing 140 patients for $15 an hour part-time. So now I'm still working at a vintage shop and doing content creation full-time. But yeah, I'm always super excited to like get into live streams. It's really what I want to do, and it's part of like the content I'm striving to push out and hopefully people want to learn from. But yeah, I've been looking around actually at what's happening, and I saw something in LA where they transformed the Vegan Fashion Week into something called the Ethical Luxury Summit, which I haven't done a lot of research, but I saw this article by Vegconomist. The Vegconomics? I don't know how to say that. I never had the chance to go to Vegan Fashion Week. Maybe we should do a bit of research on that before we get into it. Vegan Fashion Week. Supposedly it happens in LA every year, but I've never been. I've never heard of it either. Vegan fashion runway. Is that it? No, I don't think so. Oh, there it is. Here's this.
Savings you just can't beat.
So this is what it used to be. It has no audio. But they recently changed it. So this was 2022. Well, that happened in LA, but they moved it to become the Ethical Luxury Summit, and they also had a fashion show. And basically, oh wait, I think they combined it maybe. The Ethical Luxury Summit and the 6th Annual Vegan Fashion Week Golden Hour Fashion Show took place in Los Angeles, bringing together industry leaders to discuss sustainability, ethics, and innovation in high-end fashion. The events will feature panel discussions, designer showcases, and fundraising gala. And so Emmanuel, the founder and president of Vegan Fashion Week, says their mission is to address both ethical and environmental concerns about the fashion industry. And vegan fashion is the idea of pursuing and consuming fashion without harming or using animals. Sadly, animals are still left out of the conversation when it comes to sustainability or the climate emergency. And I think this happened like last week. The Ethical Luxury Summit will basically examine the future of ethical fashion. I wonder if there's anything on YouTube. Maybe they've produced something already, just so we can get a little summary. Oh, here it is.
Quick question.
Introduce yourself quickly and
yeah. My name is Rodrigo. I'm here representing my wife. She started her own clothing brand, and she couldn't make it today, so that's why I'll be here for her.
Such a supportive ally. Thank you.
Trying to. You were saying that there are so many decisions that go into making your brand sustainable. What advice do you have, or how do you measure sustainability for a small brand? Because there's so much that goes into it, but you also need to get something right. So I'm just curious from a small brand.
The audio is so trash. Ugh.
It is such a necessary next step, and that
I can't even listen. I can't even listen to it. I can't hear it. I wonder if there's anything else. It seems like that was the only thing from that channel. I don't see anything else besides that. But maybe we can like add their website. Okay, so Vegan Fashion Week presents Ethical Luxury Summit. So basically, the Ethical Luxury Summit 2025 was a groundbreaking event to redefine the essence of luxury in the iconic, trend-setting city of Los Angeles. It stems from the remarkable success of Vegan Fashion Week and is a beacon for transformative power of ethical elegance. And their aim is to shake up the industry by bringing together the fashion elite to spark change and create stimulating discussions. And their mission is to catalyze meaningful change and foster a dynamic ecosystem within the luxury sector. So they had panel conversations, they had a summit to incite action and enlighten actionable solutions and foster community committed to ethical practices. And that was their fashion week, which is not on YouTube, which is such a shame. I didn't really see a lot of PR for this either, so I wonder where we could see this later on. But this is super exciting. I mean, luxury fashion is still part of the problem, I feel like, because it pushes out more clothing and just inspires more people to create within the fashion industry. But they did help provide support for the wildfire relief initiative, which is always a plus. And they actually offered free booths to designers and brands impacted by the tragedy. So that's super cool, and it just highlights that they need to offer practical support to those affected, embodying the spirit of compassion that drives Vegan Fashion Week. Super cool. And it seems like the only way we'll know about the Ethical Fashion Summit going forward is by going to their Vegan Fashion Week website. So I think it's like sponsored under Vegan Fashion Week. It seems so. Seems like it. I've never heard of this before, so this is super cool. This was their like little poster. This was their 2021 show. That's super cool that they have transitioned over to more like ethical luxury fashion. I feel like it's a nuanced conversation that really does need more like vegan advocates and just more rights for the animals within the fashion industry just in general. So I wonder though like where the transition came, whether they were pushed into it organically, if it was like a sponsor or something. But definitely a supporter of Vegan Fashion Week for sure. I wish I can go to LA like next year once they have their next like either ethical fashion summit or just a general vegan fashion show. That'd be super cool. But this is one of the works that they showcased. Basically highlights their curiosity and also focus on sustainable fashion from a student from a Parisian school. So that's nice. Very interesting fashion for sure. I'm like obsessed with these looks. It's very sci-fi. It's giving sci-fi. Oh, this one's pretty cool. It's like a print. And it's by this designer. Their name is this from the school? I think this is school. Let's see. Oh, it's a Parisian school. Hello, Marissa. But yeah, that's super cool to see. Vegan Fashion Week is happening and thriving, actually partnering with like Paris school, so maybe that's where the luxury fashion advocacy in ethics happened. But I really wish there was like more videos that we could read or look at instead of reading articles. But basically the Veganomics article just explains how some designs they showcased and have showcased includes like repurposed textiles. They've collaborated with different designers. They focus on alternatives away from traditional animal-based textiles. They use like leather substitutes in their collection. So like they use cacti leather, apple leather, mushroom leather, pineapple leather, and also plant-derived silk alternatives. And then they also had like a fundraising gala where they had that to support emerging designers who focus on ethical and sustainable fashion. And basically the funds will help towards the Green Room, which is a permanent showroom and incubator for designers committed to vegan fashion. And again, like I said, they had a wildfire relief section where they had like free booths for designers and brands affected by the disaster. So yeah. And then the article explains that the philosophy around Vegan Fashion Week is to change the narrative around the word vegan as synonymous for compassion by healing our fractured relationship with all beings, humans, non-humans, and the planet. That's super nice. And then, yeah, I didn't really see any YouTubes on it, so I'm gonna move on. But another article that I saw was basically Forever 21 is shutting down a lot of their stores. Actually went bankrupt. So I did see some news bits on this that we should definitely see and watch, because these articles just be going on and on and on. And I sometimes just want to watch the news. Just want to watch the video. But yeah, they keep going bankrupt for some reason. Let me pause the music and we can click on this Wall Street Journal.
Oh, it makes me want to tear up, I swear to God.
Video explaining why they went bankrupt, which is like twice. Twice this has happened. There's just a commercial. So many commercials.
A fast fashion pioneer known for selling trendy clothes at rock bottom prices.
Really cheap, really cute. Oh my gosh, I love this.
At its peak, the company had more than 800 physical stores and over $4 billion in sales. But now, the fast fashion kingpin is toppling from competition within its own industry. The company has filed for bankruptcy for the second time, forcing it to shutter stores across the U.S. and lay off hundreds of employees. So, what went wrong? The story of Forever 21 started when a couple from Korea pulled together $11,000 in savings to open the first store in Los Angeles in 1984, calling it Fashion 21.
Teen apparel retail has been around for decades, and Aeropostale or Abercrombie or Gap, they're definitely the stalwarts of teen apparel. I think the difference with Forever 21 is that when retailers like them came along, they were on top of the latest trends and styles much faster than retailers had been in the past.
Fast fashion wasn't a novel trend. Competitors like Zara and Topshop were already selling similar products, but Forever 21 offered cheaper prices to consumers. Sweatshirts, button-downs, you name it, Forever 21 probably had it, and for cheap.
They would carry very trendy styles that you would see in designer clothing stores that were priced much higher. So this allowed a very fashion-conscious consumer to buy these types of apparel.
Around 12% of teen consumers listed Forever 21 as their favorite brand in 2011, and sales for the retailer peaked at more than $4 billion in 2014. Forever 21's success quickly took the brand global. The retailer opened more than 200 stores internationally, and at least 70 of those stores were 35,000 square feet or larger, including a 90,000 square foot store in Times Square. But expansion came at a cost.
The big spaces, 35,000 square feet, that was something that they really emphasized and they really believed in, but that also meant that they had to have a lot of inventory. Over time, that became a financial drain for the company and wasn't so easy to manage.
In 2019, Forever 21 filed for bankruptcy, citing its rapid international expansion and underperformance as key reasons. Stores in Canada, Europe, and Asia lost $10 million on average in 2018 and 2019. It wasn't just international sales that plummeted for Forever 21. It was also sales in U.S. malls, where the fast fashion retailer was a major tenant. That drop stems from the rise in e-commerce and the COVID-19 pandemic.
They were very slow to adapt to e-commerce. By the time they filed for bankruptcy, only 16% of their sales were through e-commerce. And at that point, a lot of companies had already made e-commerce a much stronger part of their offering.
Forever 21 continued to hemorrhage cash to the tune of $120 million, just 1 month after filing for bankruptcy. That's when licensing firm Authentic Brands Group and real estate companies Simon Property Group and Brookfield Property Partners joined forces to buy Forever 21.
These mall owners were concerned. If you lose your biggest stores, who's going to come into your malls? And then what does that mean about your other tenants? Part of the proposition was that with Simon and Brookfield, they're going to be more flexible about rents because they are the landlords and they might tie the rents to the revenue. You're giving the retailer a bit more wiggle room when things aren't going so well.
Authentic Brands is known for scooping up many fallen legacy brands, like Aeropostale, Brooks Brothers, and Reebok, and attempting to save them from extinction by licensing the brands to the highest bidder. The company declined to comment on this story. But even under new ownership, Forever 21 was up against a different challenge. Asian e-commerce powerhouses like Shein and Temu, which utilize thousands of factories in China to pump out new products at even lower prices. A Forever 21 graphic t-shirt sells for around $11, compared to just $5 at Shein. So Forever 21 formed a partnership with Shein in 2023.
Other retailers are going to have to.
Jamie Salter, have you heard of what's happening after people buy your clothing? You'd be throwing it away, Mr. Jamie. Jamie, do you care about us? Do you care about our planet? See, we need to go after people like Jamie. Mr. Jamie Salter, fast fashion king. I just would love to interview him and ask him how is he feeling about the impact he has created basically for the planet and for garment workers. Like, is he conscious? Does he care? Does he have some emotions in there? Mr. Jamie, please. What are you doing to us?
Learn what Shein's doing if they want to compete, because they're just faster and better understanding the customer.
Shein.
He basically said we have to compete like Shein is. We have to do what Shein is doing. That's crazy, Mr. Jamie. Crazy. What the heck is he talking about?
Offered Forever 21's lineup on its website, and for sure that got them some sales, but it didn't offset enough the loss from the competition from Shein. Forever 21 ultimately was undermined by companies like Shein that can do it faster and cheaper.
The remaining Forever 21 stores across the U.S. have begun liquidation sales.
I honestly feel like Forever 21 doesn't have the capacity to compete with Shein, so they created a partnership to work with Shein. It's very interesting to note that they decided to work with Shein instead of trying to rival them. I don't think Forever 21 had the capacity to do so even last year. I think they knew they were going down, 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 and down. Because if you listen to the video, this was people's favorite store back in 2011. It's been 14 years of trends and fashion change. So, like, a girl that's a teenager now isn't really going to look at Forever 21 as like the idol brand, you know, like the brand. Like, most Gen Zs are not even going to the mall in the first place. How old as well is a teenager that was a teenager in 2011. If let's say you were like 15 in 2011 and it's been like, what year are we in? 2025? 14 plus 14, they're like 28. They're my age. So yeah, like, is an average 28-year-old going to Forever 21 now? Maybe. Who knows? But I for sure know that teenagers are not shopping at Forever 21. I have not heard like a 16, 17, 18-year-old talk about Forever 21. They mostly talk about Shein and like Pretty Little Thing, those sort of brands. So I'm not surprised they've just lost their like original spark.
Sales, offering hefty discounts on remaining products. But that doesn't mean Forever 21 will be completely gone.
Authentic brands, they plan to continue to own Forever 21, and they have stores overseas that are not impacted by this bankruptcy. Possibly someone like a Forever 21 served the purpose both the mall owners and authentic brands wanted it to serve, which was that it continued to pull in traffic to the malls. So that meant you had shoppers for all the other stores in Simon Properties malls. It's possible that, they don't necessarily expect these companies to be profitable for them, forever.
On March 20th.
Yeah, that's super interesting to know. I honestly feel like Forever 21 is going to be saved. Like, I don't really think it's going to disappear, especially when they stage Forever 21 is still operating in some other places, some other stores. I'm kind of curious what other take has been taken on their bankruptcy, because I don't really see them going anywhere, to be honest. There's, we can watch this one. It talks about the rise and fall of Forever 21. It was done 5 years ago by Business Insider, but maybe it'll show us their patterns.
Forever 21 was once among America's fastest growing fast fashion retailers. It transformed its once penniless founders into billionaires, established itself as a powerhouse in the fast fashion world, and at its peak made $4.4 billion in revenue. But the once flush company is now preparing to file for bankruptcy. So what happened?
This was 5 years ago. I don't feel like they're going to disappear. I think they're going to make a comeback like they did at this point 5 years ago.
Happened. Back in the day, Forever 21 embodied the American dream. In 1981, Jinsuk and Towon Don Chang moved to Los Angeles from South Korea with no money, no college degrees, and speaking little English. To make ends meet, Jinsuk worked as a hairdresser, while Don worked as a janitor, pumped gas, and served coffee, until he noticed that the people who drove the nicest cars were all in the garment business. So 3 years later, with $11,000 in savings, the Changs opened a 900 square foot clothing store called Fashion 21.
It took him 3 years. That was a hustle. Fashion 21. Ugh, the American dream is such a lie, but he did it. I mean, he started his own store. It grew so out of proportion that later on it just all ended up in the landfill. How funny the American dream is.
The couple took advantage of wholesale closeouts to buy merchandise from manufacturers at a discount. Their system worked. The store made $700,000 in sales its first year. Fashion 21.
They should have been happy within the first year. They should have been like, yeah, this is enough. This is enough. We'll just continue to do the same thing. But ambition and unrelentless growth is, I feel like, the downfall of a lot of us, to be honest. If my business within the first year made $700,000, I'd be so happy. I'd be like, we don't have to do anything. This small store is our gold mine. But they would not stop, it seems like.
One was initially only popular with LA's Korean American community, but the Changs leveraged their success, opening new stores every 6 months, which broadened the company's customer base at the same time. They also changed the name to Forever 21 to emphasize the idea that it was for anyone who wants to be trendy, fresh, and young in spirit. The company's key to success was,
it's kind of crazy that they had that ethos about forever, forever, the spirit of being young. But like the clothing doesn't even last 2 weeks. Kind of ironic. So is fresh and fun just an elusive thing that you have to keep buying? Maybe forever shopping to feel young.
This was simple. Cultivate a huge following by selling trendy clothing for low prices. While this is something that today's consumers pretty much expect, Forever 21 was one of the first to do it, and they were the fastest. Jingsook was eventually approving over 400 designs a day, which meant the company could sell trends as they were happening.
400 trends a day. Honestly, I feel like that's what he was doing all day, just keep going like yes, yes, yes. At that point, it was unbridled greed, because if he was opening stores every 6 months, I think he had just become an approver or a disapprover of things, and he wasn't even like running his own store at that point. 400 trends a day. That's a little bit too much, I think.
Even if some of those designs landed Forever 21 in trouble. But while other brands and designers might not have been Forever 21's biggest fans, customers couldn't get enough of their affordable styles. As a result, Forever 21 became one of the largest tenants of American malls, with 480 locations nationwide. And by 2015, business was booming. Forever 21 sales peaked, with
I remember in 2015, I was starting college, and I really wanted to look cool, and I was 18 around that time. And I was like, I always wanted to be a Forever 21 girl. I remember it because the stores were so pretty, the clothing just made you feel so cool. But I was always broke. So at 18, I actually went to the store to buy a couple of things to start college, and I felt like I was on top of the world. Like I was their demographic when they were at their peak. The lines were so long. The clothing were just like exactly what we needed at that time. I admittedly didn't know about fast fashion at that time, but I was in love with the store. I loved the vibes. I loved the ethos, like the myth of like who I could be if I bought from them. And I remember everyone had the bright yellow Forever 21 bags, and the bigger they were, it just seemed like the cooler you were in the mall. So Forever 21 had me in a chokehold my whole teenage years. They really did.
$4.4 billion in global sales that year. As for the Changs, they became one of America's wealthiest couples, with a combined net worth reaching an estimated $5.9 billion in March 2015. Forever 21's goal was to become an $8 billion company by 2017, and opened
Wait. They had a goal to make $8 billion in 2017? Y'all. No. What happened to y'all's little store? They went from a little store. Fashion 21. Where is it? Fashion 21 was giving you almost $1 million, people. But they said no. We want billions. They don't need billions though. Oh my gosh. And they grew fast if you think about it. They grew so fast. This man was working.
That year. As for the Changs, they became one of America's wealthiest couples, with a combined net worth reaching an estimated $5.9 billion in March 2015. Forever 21's goal was to become an $8 billion company by 2017, and opened 600 new stores in 3 years. But the company's aggressive expansion would also lead to its downfall. Part of what made Forever 21 popular in the first place was its fast fashion model. Even though its products were always mass-produced, they still felt unique because its stores only sold select styles for a limited time. However, as the company focused on growing bigger, its styles became more cookie-cutter. As a result, Forever 21 started to lose touch with its core customers, while competitors like H&M and Zara rose. No longer the trendsetter, Forever 21 became the butt of the joke. It's also no longer the fastest in the game. Internet brands like Fashion Nova churn out celebrity and influencer-inspired styles at a rapid fire.
I feel like Shein is like the new Fashion Nova, because I used to be obsessed with Fashion Nova, but it was a bit pricier. Like this dress was like $70, and I'd always browse Fashion Nova and be like, oh my gosh, I wish I could afford this one day. And now I got Shein, and they make this sort of clothing but cheap. And it's just for girls and teenagers. I feel like Shein is like the dream right now because everything is so expensive. Again, it's not justifying Shein or saying that it's a good ethical option. It's just back when I was a teenager, to participate in fast fashion online, I would have prices like this. $40 for a basic thing, $70, $55, $45. Like, it was just too expensive. It was so out of reach for me. So in that way, it kind of stopped me from supporting fast fashion, but I was still very aware of the clothing and the brand and the things they offered.
Fire pace. And as e-commerce has continued to boom, traditional retailers like Forever 21 have struggled to adapt to changing consumer behaviors. According to a March 2019 survey, millennials make 60% of their purchases online, and overall prefer online shopping over going to a physical store. Yet Forever 21 continued opening new stores as recently as 2016, even expanding existing stores to take over multiple floors with men's, children's, and home goods sections, which could help explain why Forever 21 sales are estimated to have dropped by 20 to 25% in 2018. On top of that, the Changs, who still own the company, have lost more than $4 billion from their personal net worths. The company overall is now $500 million in debt and considering filing for bankruptcy. Forever 21 has already started downsizing its stores, and as one of the largest tenants of America's malls, a widespread shutdown of Forever 21 could exacerbate what's already being referred to as the retail apocalypse, which has already closed more than 15,000 retailers across the US and could shut down 75,000 more, according to investment firm UBS. But bankruptcy doesn't always mean the end for a company. In fact, it could give Forever 21 time to restructure and bounce back. The company could shut down.
They did bounce back, but I don't think the restructure really happened. I think the Shein collaboration was an attempt to like grow again and to become relevant again. But I do wonder what actually led to their downfall again. Maybe it was their lack of restructure. Maybe they wanted to aggressively expand again. But normal, you can say, quote unquote, normal fast fashion brands are increasingly just facing more competition to the point where these ultra fast fashion brands like Temu, Shein are just making it impossible to compete. Even Amazon is known to sell fast fashion, like ultra fast fashion. So like different collections every single day. Now it's not just weeks, it's every day they release something new, which is mind-boggling.
Down its least profitable stores and try rebranding itself. But in an age of cheap internet boutiques and fast fashion empires, this might not be enough. So it turns out, Forever 21 might not be forever after all.
Oh shoot. Fast fashion is never forever. It's meant to be thrown away and buried. Interesting. I wonder if there is anything else. Okay, so they do note that the stores they're closing is in Kentucky and Indiana.
Forever 21 is closing all of its U.S. stores after filing for bankruptcy for a second time. The retailer says it'll begin liquidation sales in store and online as it seeks a buyer for its 350 locations. Experts believe the bankruptcy is due to declining mall traffic and competition from online stores like Temu and Amazon. It's not clear how long liquidation sales will last. Forever 21 has 3 stores in Kentucky, including in Mall St. Matthews, and also 7 locations in Indiana.
Dang. I wonder who will buy them. Honestly, I don't want to see them go just because they're not an ultra fast fashion brand, but at the same time they are fast fashion. But in a way I prefer them to exist versus like Shein per se, because Shein is way too aggressive to my liking. But if we keep brands like this in existence and support them in some way, they will want to reach Shein's level. So like no matter if they're not as bad as others, I think they're always going to be pursuing the race to the bottom, like cutting corners, you know, exploiting garment workers, you know, using the earth to their benefit. So maybe overall it's a better thing that they do close down, but it doesn't guarantee that the fashion industry is inherently going to change in some, like systemically, because they do. I think Shein is just going to have less competition.
At Wayfair, we get pretty
Commercial time. Sell me the food, sell me the patios, sell me the dress. I'm just a product here.
Forever, no more. For 4 decades, Forever 21 prided itself on cheap, trendy clothing. But now, the American fast fashion giant announcing it's filing for bankruptcy and liquidating its assets.
Honestly, I think it's gone kind of downhill.
The closures come with deep in-store discounts and up to 80% off online. In its bankruptcy filing, the retailer blamed in part fierce competition from Chinese retailers Shein and Temu, which keep prices low with help from a trade exemption that allows them to skirt import taxes and tariffs.
Their clothes are at a way lower price than Forever 21. So it made it extremely difficult for Forever 21 to operate.
Forever 21, founded in Los Angeles, survived a bankruptcy 5 years ago, restructuring and closing more than 100 stores. Unable to find a buyer for the remaining 350 stores, this new bankruptcy is likely to be the end. Store closures like ones at Forever 21 are happening at a time of concern for the U.S. economy, and the U.S. consumer accounts for about 70% of U.S. economic activity. February figures show a tiny uptick in consumer spending, up 0.2% for retail sales, but below a Dow Jones forecast for a 0.6% rise. Forever 21 joins the likes of Party City and craft store Joann as iconic retailers now going bust.
Me, as a teenager, it really was like, let's go to Forever 21. But now I'm almost 30, so I'm like...
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said. If you're like 28 to like 30 years old, you were a teenager when there were like mecha vibes. Like the 2015 era was just, that's where you were at. You were in the mall shopping Forever 21. Now, these teenagers are like moms. They have their career. You don't really go there. You're not like pursuing this young spirit anymore. So like they basically lost their clientele because of reality, because of their life. Like they're getting older. They're moms now.
Not Forever 21 anymore.
Not Forever 21 anymore.
Brian Chung, NBC News, Jersey City, New Jersey.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about...
But we're also not forever young. Like, I'm getting older. It's unevitable. But yeah, it's kind of sad. Marissa says, I do hope Forever 21 closes down. I hope people's new go-to is a thrift store for in-person shopping. Yeah, I hope so too. In a way, like, I'm just kind of biased because I was raised with them and they have core memories, but yeah, they are just another fast fashion brand, and they shouldn't have expanded so aggressively in the first place. Like, if your business is making $70,000, $100,000 within the first year, expansion after that is obviously greedy. But in a way, it's like, do we want a Shein or do we want a Forever 21? Either or are both very stucky options. I would rather see Shein go than Forever 21, but that's an ideal, I guess, choose one and have another one go scenario. But Forever 21 may be dying out, and maybe that's for the better, but it doesn't guarantee the industry is going to be more sustainable because of it. But I do hope it just pushes for more like sustainable change, like more ethical change and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel for the normal people working for this brand, especially when the job market is so hard. But they did make a decision to, you know, work for an unethical fast fashion brand. But there was this thing that I saw on Instagram once where it said you have to trade your ethics to get a paycheck. And I've been thinking about that a lot, because some people may not agree with the ethics of their company, but just work there to get money. And I'm honestly broke because I don't want to trade my ethics within the workplace. But yes, the world is increasingly being more and more evil, and we're just kind of like making choices to survive. So I wonder how many people are gonna get unemployed by this and what they're gonna do next. So, but yeah, they're going down. Okay, so we already talked about Vegan Fashion Week earlier on. And then this was something I saw on YouTube where it explained how international brands like Primark, Uniqlo, and Mango won over America. Before I get into that, Marissa in the comments says, I am an optimist. I'm imagining a world where they are both gone. The unemployment part is sad. Yeah, people will always need jobs, and there isn't a lot of ethical brands per se in the fashion industry. So I just always feel for normal day-to-day people kind of like trapped in the system when there's not a lot of options. Unemployment is really hard right now. We're like entering a recession or something. But yeah, I really do hope the industry does get better. Okay, let's see what this video is about.
Brands like Uniqlo, Mango, Primark, and Aritzia are expanding rapidly in the United States.
You know, Inditex, which owns Zara, Fast Retailing, that owns Uniqlo, other names such as Mango and Primark, they've expanded a great deal internationally, particularly in Europe and other areas. And the US is still an under-penetrated, under-tapped market for them. These are also retailers that have a great deal of international expertise.
From 2018 to 2023, there were nearly 19,000 US store openings. About 30% of those were foreign-owned companies.
The rise of foreign retailers is especially prevalent in American shopping malls. I just walked into Queens Center in New York, and the first thing I see is a Primark, which is next to a Zara, which is right across from an H&M.
The US is the #1 consumer market, so to be here and to get it right means a lot, but you really need to get it right.
I have something similar. It's by a brand, Reigns. It looks very similar to that, but this is a lot less expensive.
Primark is still a very new player, but it could pose competitive threats for mall names that people are more familiar with. I spoke to a shopper. He was looking for a pair.
I feel like this is one of the reasons Forever 21 couldn't compete, because there's like more European brands in the malls. Ugh. Why can't we just like be ethical and sustainable here? Let's have some ethical competitors. Come on, people. What is Europe doing in the American mall? No.
A pair of sneakers and brought a coupon to go to Macy's. But he ended up going into Primark, walking out with a $22 pair of shoes, and he never made it to the department store.
So what makes the US so appealing to these foreign brands? And why do shoppers love them so much?
Wait, can I say something? Just because it's a foreign retailer doesn't mean anything to me. Like, Forever 21, H&M, all these brands, whether they're registered in Europe or in America, they're still being made by exploited garment workers. It's just maybe American customers are not familiar with Primark, but I'm sure they're using the same supply chain any other fashion brand are using that relies on exploitation and extraction. I just feel like Americans are like, ooh, European brand, wow, so cool, so fun.
Primark opened its first store in Dublin back in 1969, where it is known as Pennies, a nod to the store's distinguishingly low prices. The Irish discount retailer has grown its presence in the United States to 29 stores.
If you spend time in the Ireland, our home market, or the UK, where we've been since the early 1970s, Primark is an absolute household name. We still have growth opportunities in Europe, but of course some of our countries, are certainly at a maturity point. The US.
I only know about Primark because I used to watch this YouTuber called Zoella, who is like this fashion/lifestyle content creator, and I was raised by Zoella. I love Zoella. And she would make hauls and she would talk about Primark. And one time I was influenced enough to want to go to Primark. I Google it, find out it's only in UK, and I got so sad because in my head as a 12-year-old, I was like, I want to be like Zoella. I want to be cool. I want to do what she does. I want to buy what she does. I literally 12 years old. So I've known of Primark my whole life. I've never been. But in my head, it's always been a goal to shop at Primark because I loved Zoella so much. And now that they're in the United States, I'm like, kind of want to go and buy something to fulfill my inner child. But I know it's wrong. I know it's fast fashion. And they have so many ethical labor concerns all the time emerging. So I kind of don't want to buy from them. But something in me is like, oh my gosh, you can finally be like Zoella, but the United States version, which is stupid, but anyways.
US is over 330 million consumers, and what we saw very quickly was a customer base that was responding incredibly well.
Primark has no e-commerce business in the US, and it relies on large brick-and-mortar stores, like this one in Queens, New York, which is 37,000 square feet of retail space.
One of the reasons why Primark has been slow to expand online is because e-commerce is very expensive. It's a lot cheaper to have shoppers come to the store and take home what they buy. And so to keep margins up and prices low, their business model depends on being very efficient.
But Primark is just one name amongst many focused on US growth. Spanish retailer Mango and Canadian fashion brand Aritzia both made a splash in 2024. Mango grew its US sales by 10% and announced a $70 million expansion plan. Aritzia's stock price has soared over the past year as it grew US revenue by 9% in fiscal 2024. While these brands are currently in the midst of expansion, H&M laid the groundwork years ago for many of these names now taking on the US market.
H&M was really a trailblazer. It opened its first store about 25 years ago on New York's Fifth Avenue, and since—
Wait, I always wonder why they have to cut it at the side and not in the center. Is it because the bow is too much with all the fabric? Like, is there too much fabric in the middle of the bow? Why can't they cut it in the middle? It always just feels so awkward when they do it at the side. Also, look at all these fast fashion executives. Now looking at them, I'm kind of not feeling so sad because it's like you made a conscious decision to work at this unethical workplace. I don't know how to feel. Anyways, cut it in the middle. Can we have a bow that you can cut in the middle? It's just wide at the side. Please, it's not symmetrical. Anyways.
It opened its first store about 25 years ago on New York's Fifth Avenue, and since then it's become a bit of a mall staple. It has about 500 stores across the country, and it's become a household name similar to a Gap or an Old Navy. Now it's fallen on trickier times because it's facing new competition from Shein, from Temu, from a lot of other specialty retailers that have cornered the market and come in and competed on fashion-forward trends.
Zara is another name that was at the forefront of global retailers moving to the US. However, the brand has grown its store.
Oh, you know what something? You know what something? That was not eloquent. Something that I've noticed is that they always use white mannequins. Why are the mannequins always white? I actually went to a African fashion collection at the Field Museum, and it was the first time I saw African mannequins with cornrows. And I was like, wait, this is the first time I see like black mannequins. Nothing too out of this world. It's just, I've never seen diverse mannequins with cultural hair, because all you ever see is white mannequins. Why do they always have to be white? Is this a Western fashion and colonialism all tied together and presented as a normal thing? Dang. We need some diversity in the mannequins, please. We also need Hispanic models, like light brown or like brown mannequins. We need everything. We need yellow mannequins. This is an injustice. We're not just all one white color. Anyways.
Store base far more slowly than H&M. In fact, its net US store count has remained about the same over the past 5 years. But just looking at the number of stores doesn't tell the full story here.
They'll be expanding into these bigger flagship locations, and then those smaller stores.
Maybe we have to talk to Monique about this equity stuff within stores. Monique, tell me about diversity and equity in fashion.
That were existing in a given city, they might be actually closing them. Net, you still end up with more space, and net, the density of that space continues to increase every year.
I think what's interesting about a lot of these apparel retailers moving into the US is that they have something very distinctive, whether it's Inditex, which owns Zara with fast fashion, whether it's Mango with its kind of European style, Primark with its mix of ultra-low prices and fast fashion, and Uniqlo, which has a focus on functional products, technical development. They all have something pretty distinctive, which I think is...
which is exploitation of garment workers. Yes, sir. They're all selling fast fashion, my guy. Like, that's what distinguishes them.
An advantage over kind of mid-range, undifferentiated apparel retailers.
More than
What did you just say? Did you just say every other brand is basic and they're not? My guy, you are so wrong.
50% of Primark's offering is basics. Think t-shirts, underwear, socks, you know, stuff that isn't going out of
That's what I said.
style. H&M is more fashion-focused, but similarly manufactures products far in advance in mainly China and Bangladesh, relying on its designers to predict trends and styles long before they hit stores. Rather than trying to predict trends, Zara, on the other hand, responds to them, operating under a traditional fast fashion model. Therefore,
they don't make the trends, they copy the trends. They just corporate speech dust. Just say the truth, guys.
Zara is less reliant on manufacturing in Asia than some of its peers. About half of its production is done through nearshoring. All that means is the company produces things close to where it sells them. Inditex is based in Spain, and nearly 40% of its factories are based in Europe. It's therefore able to quickly stock product in the continent. But to get clothing on US shelves, while it's still in style, requires a different approach.
Often a lot of the US product needs to be flown out there rather than shipped, right, to get there quickly enough. But that is very expensive. Air freight is much more expensive than sending something on a ship. As a result of that and differences in duties, taxes, costs of employment, rental costs, etc., the price points of items in the US for Zara are about 25 to 35% more expensive than the...
I feel like the Zara prices are going to be mostly similar to like Shein or other brands now, because for like other brands that have it a bit cheaper, they're now going to be faced with like the Chinese tariffs and all that, and that's around like 20 to 30%. So I feel like Zara's prices are going to be a good like example of what fast fashion can feel like or be priced at after the tariffs are implemented, because they have that same percentage that they're forced to pay because of the expensive freight costs. It's a very interesting thing to note.
The price points for those same items in its European business outside of Spain. But whereas when you look at H&M, the price points are very similar across most of its major markets. So you won't find a major discrepancy in prices in Europe versus the US.
The US retail market is highly fragmented, meaning there are a lot of companies vying for share of the customer's wallet.
Companies like Aritzia and Mango see fresh turf when they look over at the US, and they see a more resilient shopper. A lot of consumers in Europe, particularly in the UK, are under more economic pressure. In the US, there's been a more resilient consumer, and that consumer is willing to try new brands and follow global trends.
While that means increased competition, it also means new opportunities for growth. That dynamic is different in countries like Spain, where players like an Inditex already control a significant portion of the retail landscape.
They genuinely have an over 20% market share. So, if they're expanding in Spain, Zara, for instance, you really do feel that they're probably taking share from other players. When I look at Euromonitor data for Inditex's market share across the Americas, so North America, and it will include South America as well, it's like 1.5%. And H&M's won't be dramatically different. For context, if I look back a decade before, it was sort of 0.8%.
I just realized she has a British accent. Has she had a British accent this whole time? Oh gosh.
So it's not that they aren't taking a little bit of share with their market rollout, but it's not really significant enough for me to see it as, they're taking material share in the US.
Lady, what are you talking about? Can we get to...
Taking. Another dynamic that could be appealing is the decline of baby and children's stores. Babies R Us and Bye Bye Baby, which is owned by Bed Bath & Beyond, both went out of business, and that means that Primark sees opportunity to grow its baby and children's market, which it's been doing at many of its stores.
Athleisure is really big right now.
Before we get into this section, I also want to note when I worked at a thrift store, I would look through the donations, which was my main job for hours and hours and hours. I was exposed to pounds and pounds and pounds of clothing, textiles, of random stuff all day, every day for 3 years. And one of the things that I noticed that a lot of people donate a lot of that we could not sell or just put out on the floor was baby clothes. The amount of clothing babies go through is horrendous. And we would just get so much to the point where we would look at a bag full of kids' clothes and just donate it away to the program that we had, or we would just like toss it in the dumpster. Obviously, my manager would have been mad at us, but like we had so much baby clothes that we didn't know what to do with it. And we would have to go through every single bag and look through and see what was clean and not clean. And babies are dirty. They're always throwing up, they're smearing themselves, they're on the floor. So most of this baby clothing donated was dirty. It was smeared, like there was imperfections here and there, and they didn't wash them before they gave it to us. So if one thing is messy, how do we know that within a bag of clean clothes? Like we just literally have to look through everything, turn it around and inwards to see if there's any stains, anything. Also, because I have diapers and there's leakages, it would be like peed on, there would be poop stains in there, and it was a liability if we sold nasty stuff. So it was a lot of work because it's millions and millions of pieces within one garbage bag because the clothing is so tiny. So it's just maybe there's a way that we can like restore or revive baby clothing. Honestly, 50 cents for me was way too expensive to price things, but normally we would price it $1 for each piece. But I was thinking in my head, I'm like, this needs to be like 25 cents. Like 25 cents for a baby tee, 25 cents for baby pants, and they didn't even sell fast enough. So like we could have given it away for free because we were throwing away a lot of it, but because we're a for-profit company, we in a way preferred to throw it away than give things away. So there needs to be a solution to kids' clothing, especially when it's consumed so fast and just gotten rid of so fast. Even washing them like is a hassle, but maybe there's a way to rescue the textile of it somehow. I don't know, but it's a good idea if we want to save the planet.
Now, with brands like Lululemon, Viore, Aloe really taking off, this is Primark's answer to that, the $7 workout t-shirt.
We've been able to influence back on that global Primark product range to include more leisure wear as we've continued to grow over the US. We are about 5% of Primark's global sales today, so still relatively small in comparison to the other 16 countries in Europe. But actually because of that,
can we ask this man how he feels creating more trash on the earth?
That growth, we're now able to shape more of the product range to suit the US consumer.
Social media has allowed brands with even a relatively small number of physical stores to flourish in the US. A Forrester retail survey found that 63% of consumers under 25 and 57% of those between 25 and 34 discover products or brands on social media at least weekly. Take the Uniqlo shoulder bag, for example.
I am serious, it's so nice.
Or the Aritzia Super Puff.
What did he say? Wait, did he say, I am serious, so nice? Wait, I have to see that again.
I am serious, it's so nice.
It looks like they have a gun to his head. Say it again. I am serious, so nice. That's it? So nice? Why is he standing like this? I feel like the bag is too short for him, that he's literally trying to like get himself to fit it. He doesn't look comfortable in it. I'm not trying to be mean. It was just funny.
Or the Aritzia Super Puff.
It is the warmest jacket I've ever worn.
Both companies cited
What are you talking about? A coat is supposed to be warm.
Aritzia Super Puff.
It is the warmest jacket I've ever worn.
Both companies cited social media virality as driving growth for these products in 2023. But one viral product does not keep a brand afloat. What it does create is brand awareness, which these companies can capitalize on by continuing to stay on top of trends.
Part of the appeal of these brands, whether it's Mango or Zara, is that they have a lot of off-the-runway looks. If you look on their website or in their app, a lot of the pictures look like something you might find in Vogue. They're very fashion-forward, tapping into that European ideal, that idea of being on the cutting edge of a trend, of looking like a model. That sort of newness is what's helping them attract new shoppers in the US who aren't as familiar with their brand but want to have that look, especially when they want to portray how fashion forward they are on TikTok or Instagram.
Oh my gosh. Before we get into this section, Marissa says, as a mom, my fave way to deal with kids' clothing is resale stores when I get money for selling my kiddos stuff and can buy gently used clothing at the same place. Yeah, there's one near me as well. It's like a thrift store just for kids' clothing, and they basically buy the items, which is so smart, and I think they're forever going to be in business and forever buying stuff. Just because it's like endless amount of stuff that always is being shopped for the kids. Like, they grow so fast. They're always just going from size to size to size. So we're endlessly just like getting rid of stuff. So it's a good, smart business model for sure.
Despite its recent success, Uniqlo has had a bumpy road entering the US. After initially opening and closing stores in 2005 and 2006, it experienced some struggles again after re-entering in 2011. In fiscal 2016, the company reported losses of around $70 million related to asset retirement and store closures in the US. It was forced to reevaluate its strategy as it faced struggles with brand awareness and meeting the tastes of the American consumer. But today's retail landscape looks a bit different.
I think fashion is becoming more homogeneous around the world, and there are fewer differences to kind of iron out between markets. And I think that's playing into these kind of companies. So I think these probably stand a better chance than when we've seen in past years, past decades, companies move into a market and end up pulling out. There are kind of fundamental reasons why they should be more solid this time.
While fashion trends are becoming increasingly similar, regardless of the market, there are still differences in consumer preferences. Primark says its licensed merchandise, for example, is particularly popular in the US.
I think it's a Stitch cookie jar. I love they're all in on Stitch in this section here.
But when it came to American sports apparel, the company quickly learned some valuable lessons.
Initially, we thought, surely everyone in Europe loves the Dallas Cowboys, and let's land that product into every.
Kevin, you have no idea what you're doing, buddy. Stop selling us random shit.
Store, and everyone's going to absolutely go wild for it. Well, we saw pretty quickly that actually people are very passionate about their local sports teams. So if you're in Buffalo,
Huh? Turns out they want to support their local sports. Locals want to support their local sports. What are you talking about, sir?
in Walden Galleria where we trade, you better have the Bills product available for those customers because they're not looking for anything else.
The fragmented nature of the US apparel landscape makes it much easier for new players to enter. When Mango underwent significant growth in Spain, shoppers often assumed it was part of the Inditex portfolio of brands.
It can be difficult as a new brand to introduce yourself to a whole new group of customers who may not know your name. But many American customers travel a lot. There's been a shift toward going all over the world and discovering many of these retailers' names before a Mango opens in someone's own mall.
They're starting with a clean slate in some instances. At the same time, their brand image for a lot of these brands tends to be really quite consistent worldwide. They've got a formula that they've found has been
Why does he look like he's being held at gunpoint? Blink twice if you need help.
distinctive, that has won the market share in many markets. It's kind of almost copying and pasting.
Most of these apparel names are still in the early innings of growth in the US. Aside from H&M, all of the brands discussed in this video have less than 100 physical stores. For context, Old Navy has over 1,100 locations. Primark told CNBC that it has 17 new leases signed for 2025. This map shows all but one, which the company has not yet announced.
We are only in 12 states today. When I think about...
Alrighty, we get the point. Primark is here. We don't need this. Someone says that they have a theory that they're coming over because there aren't many stores in the US that are not selling cheap, good quality clothes. And if it is high quality, then it's super expensive. So many people just want decent clothes at a competitive price. Interesting. And then someone says Uniqlo is the best, but I feel like people are forgetting that there's major like ethical and sustainable concerns within these expansions. Just because they're coming over offering more decent things at cheaper prices doesn't mean it's better for anyone in the long run and a big picture level. So going into an interesting sustainable fashion event that's coming up, just to switch gears a bit and talk about more solution-based, action and local-based perspectives besides just like, dogging on fast fashion brands and stuff like that. There is a Texan, or is it Texan? I think it is. No, this is a Virginia. This is a Virginian effort called ReFashion Show. And basically there's going to be a sustainable fashion show that showcases the creativity of designers, artists, and makers who are basically dedicated in transforming discarded materials into wearable art. So yeah, it's gonna happen. When is it going to happen? June 6, 2025, if you're in Virginia, from 6 to 9. They're gonna be doing that, and they have a whole fashion show. It says fashion histories in the making right in the national's capital. So this is their little imagery. I think it's AI, but it's really cool. They're like reconceptualizing fashion and making it into a powerful image, to be honest. I love how he's wearing a skirt. Love that. And basically they're gonna focus on reuse and sustainable production, and the organization presents the talented people behind the designs out into the light and help them rise through the power of community. So it's incredibly pretty and incredibly powerful. It's so cute. And so sustainable fashion isn't a trend, it's a movement. So that's happening in Virginia. And their Instagram, it took me to Trash to Treasure movement. I think they like upcycle and like remake things. They're really connected to Remake. I think they have a lot of support from Remake, which is an organization around sustainable fashion. Oh wait, I think this is the personal page of a community organizer for Remake. Yeah, it's Ashley. And then this is the official Instagram page for the fashion show. So there's a lot happening in Virginia. Awesome. I didn't know that Virginia was next to DC. So I was always confused when they're like, yeah, I went to DC. I'm like, wait, you're from Virginia. But that's super awesome to look at and be aware of. And basically, beyond the runway, the ReFashion Show will serve as an educational advocacy initiative engage the community through workshops, panel discussions, and interactive exhibits. And attendees will learn about the environmental and social impacts of the fashion industry while still supporting and discovering practical ways to support fashion, ethical brands, and circular economy principles. See, these are the things that we need. We don't need more Primarks. We don't need more Forever 21s and whatever else is in the mall. And then as part of a broader movement promoting sustainability and creativity in fashion, the ReFashion show will empower designers, consumers, and industry professionals to rethink their relationship with clothing. So whether you're a designer looking to showcase your work, a conscious shopper seeking inspiration, or a sustainability advocate eager to spark change, the ReFashion show is a must-attend event that proves fashion can be both stylish and sustainable. Nice, nice. Kind of wish I'm in Virginia on June 6th. Whoa. I'm gonna follow the host, Trash to Treasure. Trash to Treasure. She does a lot of stuff. She's also in a weaving group. That's so cool. First meeting, or their meeting's going to be March 20th in the MLK Library in Washington, D.C. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. She's very dedicated. She also has vintage designs. I'm just stalking her at this point. Oh, nice. I think this is her. Yeah. She made earrings. Oh wait, no, she's supporting earrings from vintage secondhand beads. So cool. Love to see it. Love to see it. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna move on. There's so many tabs. Okay, so then I actually saw that there's going to be oh, this is the same thing as the other one. There's going to be more like Manila sustainable fashion efforts. So NYLON Manila showcased basically thrifting, vintage fashion. Yes, please. Why can't I take this off? I accept it. What is happening? Wait, am I gone? Oh my gosh, I glitched out for a second. It looked like my live stream went down for a second. What is happening? Okay, so basically it seems like I'm back, but I thought the live stream ended for a second. But basically NYLON Manila talked about thrifting, vintage fashion, and secondhand shopping, and how Gen Z are fashioning it as a way of life where their clothing choices speak for more than just their style. So this is an article that they made. I think the website's glitching my whole system out, but I'm just gonna go ahead and read it. It's glitching out. It's glitching out. Blah blah blah. Nika, who is you? Let me try again. Okay. So it says, what are the kids wearing these days? You direct this question towards students and Filipino youth, and chances are you'll get more than a few answers related to okay, I don't know what that is. Okay. Or thrifting. The kids, no, it's not responding. So basically, no. Basically, they're going beyond perceiving style as just a personal act of self-expression, and this generation is taking a more conscious take in collective action and an effort to do better for the world and people in it. And so Youth Alliance for Climate Justice, Youth Advocates for Climate Philippines, is knowing a bit of things around fashion and how it can speak for more than just personal style, because what we wear says plenty about us, and it's not just I like rock music or I love embracing my femininity. Fashion can speak to what we're fighting for, which is super nice. And so one of their projects is their now annual Fashion Against Fascism and Fossil Fuels, which marries the idea of fashion being an avenue to highlight important issues and remedy ignorance in a hybrid event that equals part fashion show and protest. It uses fashion, art, and performance to relay messages calling for systemic and societal change, and basically that they recognize their impact as consumers, individuals, as part of the collective, and are patrons, basically, of sustainable practices. So fast fashion is also increasingly a huge problem for the environment, but thankfully calls for sustainability. Oh my gosh, this website, I swear to God. Wait! Thankfully calls for sustainability in all aspects to be spoken more about. Okay, so we're gonna look at the Fashion Against Fascism and Fossil Fuels, because that website is glitching out on me and it's pissing me off. What was it called again? Fast Fashion Against what? Fascism and Fossil Fuels, I think it was. Give me something. Give me something. Is this? Blah 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 blah. What was it called again? What are we doing? Something and something. Fashion Against Fascism. Against Fossil Fuels, okay. So this is what it looked like. So MANILA, a group of young environmental defenders, held Fashion Against Fascism and Fossil Fuels, where there was ready-to-wear pieces were created for a catwalk that showcases how things are worsening for the climate crisis. Interesting. Nice, nice. I love this jacket. It's very sparkly. I like this projection of the guy. It's like very multi-dimensional. I wonder what this shirt says. I can't see it. And the article says, as the 51st anniversary of Ferdinand Marcos Sr's martial law approaches, it is necessary to remember the impacts of the dictator's rule that are being felt today and are echoed by his son Marcos Jr.'s first year in office, says Mitzi Jonelle Tan, international spokesperson for YACAP. And this show coincides with a recent global report where Philippines was named as one of the deadliest places for environmental defenders. I can't read today, my peoples. My peoples. Let me read that again. So it says the show coincides with a recent global report where Philippines was named as one of the deadliest places for environmental defenders. Oh, okay. It took a second try to absorb that information. I don't know where my brain went for that second, but the pieces are very powerful. They're very telling. That's connected to nature, to like indigenous aspects of their culture. They must have sang. Interesting. This is really nice. This is like a little structure right here. I wonder how they like kept it in place, like how he kept the structure in place. This one says, stop the attacks, defend the defenders, stop the killing. And so it says that this is the 10th consecutive year since the Philippines became part of the list by Global Witness. It says, Carl Castro, the show's creative director, pointed out that the show reveals the continuity between the environmental degradation from Marcos Sr. and administration up to now under his son, Marcos Jr. I guess The two main messages of the show is one is that there can be no climate change justice without social justice. And second, it concentrates on Marco's first year in office and reflects how obviously he doesn't know anything about climate and agriculture. Interesting. Oh, this is very beautiful. The flowers all over her skin. And then the flowers here. I like your hair. I wonder if it's hard to do that. I could never have red hair, to be honest. I've always wanted like lavender hair, but I'm not that confident. I may just buy a wig and do like a Hannah Montana moment or something. Imagine if I just come up with a lavender hair moment out of nowhere. I like this. I like the glitter sequence. And I think they took off the original sleeves and then they put like a different floral pattern on there. It's nice. I like the colors. It's also very distressed. They must have taken like the original part where it had more of that like structure feel right here. They like destroyed it. They distressed it. And it says, in the event, organizers linked fashion and music to 6 critical climate action issues of the day, which are displacement, environmental plunder, mental health, food hunger, disinformation, and human rights violations. Event organizers, along with producers, designers, and models, also carried with them placards. This is significant in light of the recent ranking of the Philippines as Asia's most deadliest nation for environmental activists over the past decade by Global Witness. Seems like they were having fun. I like that, I like that. And then the article ends off by saying, we hope to call on this generation to take up the endeavor of fighting for climate and social justice through fashion or any other method. Let us continue to hold Marcos Jr. accountable for his anti-people and anti-environment policies. Let this be a rallying cry for a better future, one where our leaders prioritize the well-being of both the planet and the people, said Tan. Oh, I love this. I love this. These are organizers doing a fashion show, using fashion as a tool to talk about what's important, environmentally and socially. Such a vibe. Such a vibe. This is my favorite piece. I actually want to like DIY this. I feel like a little necklace connected to a different necklace and just like wrapped around your body with a cool like print bottom or skirt with a basic top. I think I would do that. I love this look. I low-key love this as well. If I wasn't so afraid of like getting a tattoo, I'd probably want to do this. This is amazing. I think it's just paint though. I don't think it's a real tattoo. But yes, I love this. This is called Fashion Show Against Fascism and Fossil Fuels. I wonder if there's like a YouTube video on it. I just want to watch videos today, people. I'm clearly not in the talking mood today. I'd be stuttering all over. I'm a human. Okay, let's see. Ooh, look at this one. Fascists have no drip. What? The history of fashion in fascist Italy? Should we watch this one? Wait, let me not get distracted. Fascism and fashion Prada? What? Huh? Is there fascism in Prada? Oh my gosh, I want to watch all of them. Wait, and then there's this one. How fossil fuels are the backbone of fast fashion. I cannot talk today. How fossil fuels are the backbone of fast fashion. Huh? Wait, I think this is the one that we're looking for. YACAP. We'll watch the other ones, I swear. Marissa says this show is very inspiring. Yeah, I want to copy it, to be honest. Or do something similar to this. Here, let me lower the volume of this or stop it. Da 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 da. I think they did a presentation on
climate justice, and we want to discuss that in both with a social justice framework. Ayun. So next slide.
They've done many of these.
These are just photos from the previous fashion shows that we've done. So the first year was with the theme of Golden Era. We wanted to, since it was the 50th year, it's a golden year, but it wasn't a true golden year because it was remembering the martial law era, but it was also remembering the activism that came with that era, which was the 70s. So it was a mix of both modern fashion and the fashion from the 70s. Ayun, so next slide. And last year, we brought the event, the fashion show titled Drought and Deluge, Son of Us. Yeah, so Drought and Deluge, and this was mostly with the theme of streetwear. It was a ready-to-wear collection. It was a lot of shirt designs. A lot of the designers that we also brought on from last year are also here this year, and we'll meet some of the designers in a bit and some of the models as well. And so next slide. So this event will happen this Friday, September 13, 2024, in the Ignacio B. Jimenez Theater in UP Diliman, which will also be live streamed on Facebook and YouTube. This event is not just a one-time thing because this is in line with the global climate strike that will take place on September 20, the next Friday after this fashion show, and the Saturday after that, on September 21, on the day itself of the anniversary of the martial law announcement 52 years ago. Will be an action in the Liwasan Bonifacio, and there will be a reiteration of the fashion show that we will do in the theater, but this time in the streets. And so next slide. I'll just introduce the other speakers that we have here in the room that you may also direct questions to later. So we have Azalia Reyes, one of the models. We have Santi Sena, which is one of the designers. We have Mimi Doringo from Kadamay as one of our models as well. We have our director, Carl Castro, as here to also speak about this event. And one of our other models as well, Aiki, is also in the room. The designers in this room are, again, Santi Sena and also Ayla Batan from Concerned Artists of the Philippines that will also speak about their design. So again, next slide. I've already introduced myself, and hopefully if there are any questions about the event and of the organizers, feel free in our open forum later. Next slide, please. Now let's hear from our director, Carl Castro. He is an independent artist and designer, and he has been our director for our fashion show for this year, the third time, and hopefully...
Yes, King! Okay, I probably will not watch all of this. Maybe we can fast forward to like know who's involved.
I'm a big fan, actually. I've been following you for years. Anyway, yun. Plus, we've also had a wave of celebrities and drag queens who use fashion to bring political and environmental issues to light, such as Sasa Girl, Marina Summers, Pura Luca Vega, and Naiya. Ayun. Thank you.
You're welcome. It says, advocate for protecting local/vulnerable communities, environment and wildlife, and climate change action against capitalism and imperialism. These are the people that we need.
Tayong lahat ng mga Pilipino ay maging aware para protektahan yung ating inang kalikasan, yung ating mundo na dahil pag sila na po yung gumiba.
Yes, Queen, I mean, to speak in her dialect or her language. So that's super cool to see. I'm actually really interested in seeing this video over here. Let's watch.
Do you really want to spend the rest of your life?
I meant the video, not the commercial, peoples. Oh God, no, wait a minute. We need the audio. Okay.
The Italian Fascist Party understood that fashion is a powerful tool. Throughout
I love her.
its reign of terror, the regime used theatrical parades, mass media, and fashion to erase individuality and promote Mussolini's violent vision for the future of Italy. At least, that was their plan. In this video, we'll explore the history of the Italian fascist regime's projects for fashion, as a platform for propaganda, and as a vehicle for economic independence. In doing so, we'll uncover 7 key lessons on fascism to better understand the world's most destructive political ideology. I'm Taipei, and this is the history of how fascists have no drip.
Okay.
The boot of Italian fascism.
No, sorry. What is happening today? Ugh. I got so excited. I just
The history of how fascists have no drip.
Let me put it on the regular screen.
Before we get started, I want to make it clear that this video is intended to provide historical education on Italian fascism. The point of this video is to show why fascism is terrible, and I've done my best to make that argument abundantly clear. Fashion was always essential to the fascists, even before they came to power. With the end of World War I in 1918, Italy was left in a state of political chaos. The collective trauma of trench warfare combined with mass unemployment to create a fertile breeding ground for populist movements, and in the violent scramble for power that ensued, the fascist party became synonymous with their uniforms, the black shirts. The black shirts were first adopted by the fascist paramilitary gang known as the Squadristi. This uniform had multifaceted symbolism, a connection to Mussolini's home region of Emilia-Romagna, the violence of World War I military costume, and the glorification of death and mourning through the color black. From 1922 to 1928, Benito Mussolini systematically dismantled Italian democracy, creating the world's first fascist dictatorship. As the fascists consolidated power during this period, the black shirts they wore became a central part of their iconography and a key propaganda strategy. This brings us to our first lesson. Fascism is the enemy of individuality. Throughout their 20-year rule, the Italian fascists attempted to use uniforms to replace individuality with their own civic religion. The black shirts worn by adult male party members were elevated to an almost sacred status. Uniforms infiltrated even the most sacred moments in life. For some forms of government assistance, being married in a party uniform was a requirement for eligibility. Uniforms were also an essential propaganda tool aimed at indoctrinating children. From 1934 onwards, teachers were required to wear fascist uniforms at school. Various party uniforms were created for fascist youth groups, even extending to infants and toddlers. Uniforms were mostly not worn as part of daily life, rather being reserved for special occasions. A large percentage of the Italian population never even had a fascist uniform, either due to personal political opposition or poverty. But despite this, uniforms were an essential part of the constant marches and rallies that constituted the fascist party's public theatrics. The message of these uniformed events was made clear by Mussolini himself in 1932. Anti-individualistic. The fascist conception of life stresses the importance of the state and accepts the individual only insofar as his interests coincide with those of the state. As an individual yourself, you may be asking, why on earth would anyone support a state that has no regard for their individual liberty? Well, since fascism has nothing to offer you in the present or future, it instead promises a return to an idealized past. Number 2, fascism is obsessed with a revised past. Despite being nominally revolutionary, the Italian fascists used historical iconography in their uniforms to harken back to a heavily revised past. For example, the she-wolf who cared for Remus and Romulus in Rome's origin myth was a recurring motif on fascist children's uniforms. Another recurring motif in party badges was the fascio littorio, the ancient Roman symbol that inspired the name of the fascist party. These connections to the Roman Empire were not innocuous. They were part of a broader agenda of weaponized archaeology, where the Italian fascist party would use the historical geographical reach of the Roman Empire to justify their violent expansionism. This included the so-called pacification of Libya, a military campaign where the Italian fascists used concentration camps, mass displacement, and chemical weapons against the Libyan civilian population. By incorporating symbols of ancient Rome into party uniforms, the Italian fascists gave a hollow promise of a return to greatness that would thankfully never precipitate. We've discussed the quasi-religious significance placed upon the black shirts and other fascist party uniforms, but given how important these uniforms were, you may be surprised to learn that over half of the population wasn't allowed to wear them.
You can save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Whoa! Ha, very funny, Limu.
Whoa, I feel like they're smart, but I feel like I don't even know what I'm listening to. Let's give it 5 more minutes. Say insurance. No. Not the brand commercials. No.
If you'd like to see more of this content, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. It's completely free, and it really helps me out. And if you'd prefer to support me directly and gain access to exclusive content, you can check out my Patreon. Now, let's get back to the video. Italian women made enormous economic and cultural strides during World War I. Just like in other countries, women entered en masse into the previously male-dominated workforce, and the Italian feminist movement was gaining steam. The fashion world took note. The 1920s saw the rise of a new, liberated silhouette for women, with a drop waist and a slender, more masculine profile. This tomboyish look took on different names in different countries. The flapper in the US and UK, la garçon in France, and la maschietta in Italy. But as is always the case after times of progress, these wartime advancements for women would meet a severe backlash. Number 3. Fascism exploits existing societal misogyny. The Italian Fascist Party didn't have to invent misogyny. The anti-feminist backlash in Italy was well underway before the fascists came to power. After the war ended, there was a major push to replace women in the workplace with male veterans, and a bill to ensure legal suffrage for women failed in the Italian Senate in 1919 and again in 1920. After they came to power, the fascists exploited the existing misogyny in Italian society for their propaganda, and one of the most visible ways that the regime would subjugate women was through fashion. Women and girls were banned from wearing the black shirts, despite them being the most iconic uniform of the fascist movement. In 1926, a party official declared, "Personally, I am totally opposed to women and girls wearing black shirts. The black shirt is the virile symbol of the combatant spirit of our revolution, and it has nothing to do with the welfare and good works that fascism has entrusted to women." Italian women weren't
Bro is tweaking out. What does a black shirt have to do with anything, bro? Like, stop telling us what to wear.
even given any standardized fascist uniform until the 1930s, 10 years into the fascist period. This might seem like a puzzling choice, given that uniforms were so central to the fascist propaganda campaign. What's even more ironic is that the vast majority of these uniforms were made by underpaid local seamstresses, or family members, who were almost always women. But as the previous quote suggests, Italian fascism was a cult of male sexuality, one that wanted to ignore women as much as it wanted to subjugate them. When the fascist party did give attention to women, it was often to parade them as objects of propaganda. The Great Parade of Female Forces is a 1939 documentary showcasing a women's rally in Rome that was organized by Mussolini. The footage heavily features young, slender women wearing sports uniforms who are participating in various physical activities. We can see the fascist obsessions with virility, athleticism, and conformity on full display. In addition to young women wearing either athletic or militaristic uniforms,
I do want to note that I feel like fast fashion is the new uniform. Wild take over here. Wild take. Conformity, regime, power held at the top by evil men. I'm just saying. I think we have a choice. But do we when we're all wearing a uniform? I don't know. I don't know.
The rally also included Masai Rurali, or rural housewives, wearing various local traditional costumes. While these contrasting fashions may seem like a paradox, Eugenia Policelli explains this in her book, Fashion Under Fascism. What we find illustrated in the documentary
Ooh, I need this book. I need this book.
Footage is a visual confirmation of the two-sided, indeed ambivalent, nature of the fascist attempt to include every single woman of the Italian peninsula in its purview.
Why they gotta use so many big words? Oh my gosh, I'm glitching out. YouTube is punishing me. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Da-da-da-da-da, stream is glitching. Am I still glitching out? Am I still glitching out? Maybe I should move on. YouTube, don't do this to me. YouTube. Am I back? YouTube, why are you punishing me like this? YouTube, why are you doing this to me? Oh my gosh, YouTube. What a coincidence. YouTube. YouTube, I won't talk about fascism anymore, I swear. YouTube, please. Don't fascism anymore, I swear. YouTube, please. Don't punish me. YouTube. Listen to me, I swear I'll be good. I'm still glitching out, people. Okay, let's just talk about something else. I'll talk about London. I'll talk about Europe. I'll be good. I swear I won't talk about this. Okay, hello. I'm back. I swear, YouTube. I swear I won't talk about fascism anymore. Okay, so I'm gonna go talk about the fashion district in London, how they're having a sustainable fashion show. YouTube, I swear I'll be nice. Okay, I'm back. Oh my gosh, YouTube, why do you hate me? I simply talked about fascism for like 5 seconds. They did me so dirty, guys. I never glitch out like this. I swear I'll do better. Am I back? Am I back? I think I'm back. Yes, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry, guys. YouTube just has a personal problem with fascism. I was having a fun time, and then things just had to be ruined. But let's talk about London, Europe. Yay! Woo! I love Europe. I love colonization. They're actually doing a sustainable fashion show. Let's talk about it. Let's move on from fascism. So, basically, the Fashion District announces a 2025 festival that showcases sustainable fashion in Spitalfields. And basically, it says that it's going to happen June 3rd to the 8th. And it's going to be a 6-day festival that will offer a celebration of sustainable, circular, and regenerative fashion. And it's going to bring together fashion enthusiasts, conscious shoppers, and startup entrepreneurs. And the festival centers will have 4 themes of watch, stop, make, and grow. And as part of the year's program, the Fashion District Festival will partner with SXSW London to showcase global pioneers and trailblazers in the fashion technology and sustainability. Nice. It's going to have a curated pop-up. Will host pre-loved, swapped, upcycled, and repair brands. Concert shoppers can discover more sustainable ways to engage with fashion. Nice. There's going to be workshops around upcycling, craft, customization, and digital fashion design. Nice, nice. London for the win. There's nothing going on about fascism here. Hell no. Just wholesome fashion vibes, YouTube. I love fashion. Sustainable fashion, I love it. You hear me? Now my stream is healthy. Wow, okay. I see how it is, YouTube. I'll see how it is. I'll keep it PG-13. Okay, so to move on, there's actually some lessons from Ellen Fisher's newest circular collection. So this is a known sustainable fashion brand, and it's relatively popular with like older people. And oh my gosh, stop the ads. Basically, it says, you know what, let's just have Robot Girl read it. Let's just let the robots read it. Come on, robot.
Moth holes and Merlot stains usually send shirts to the trash, but these imperfections are leading to new creations at Eileen Fisher. The company's mended collection of blatantly repaired, patched or merged clothes is launching March 27th, selling new white linen shirts concocted from pre-worn ones. These and other mended items, which will only be produced by the tens and sold online, will make up a small fragment of Eileen Fisher's robust repair and recycling efforts. But they are part of the company's grander ambitions to reduce its footprint, inspire change in the industry, cater to customer preferences, and continue to set the pace in this burgeoning sector. The work that we do is leading the way for other brands to follow us, said Carmen Gama, Eileen Fisher's director of circular design. Right now, it does not contribute to the bottom line, but we're building customer loyalty, Another benefit, Gama explained, is that because Eileen Fisher handles so many products after use, it enjoys a competitive advantage over other companies scrambling to satisfy California's new Extended Producer Responsibility, EPR, law, which requires brands to manage worn apparel.
Okay. So they're basically trying to help repair clothing, which is super cool. And if they do, it's going to reduce the amount of times it's thrown away and increase the times it was worn and reworn. Love it. Love. I actually really want to go back to the fascist videos, but as soon as I go and put those back on, I'm going to get another glitch. And Marissa says, the glitch is a sign you were doing some good digging. Yeah, we were on a roll. I was learning. We were vibing. I learned about fascism and fashion book. Actually, how much is that book? Can we like actually look it up? Fascism and fascism? Is it fascism in fashion? Fascism and fashion book. YouTube, don't glitch me out. YouTube. I literally am typing glitch. No. Book. Fascism and fashion book. Whoa. Wow. Is it for free? Ooh. Fascism of 1930s Italy dominated more than just politics. It spilled over modes of dress. Beyond the black shirt. See, that's what we were learning. And then YouTube was like, no, go freak yourself. Wow. Where do we buy it? Where do we buy it? This is the author, isn't she? Yes. Girl, let me buy your book. I don't know where to buy it. Is it Bloomsbury? Bloomsbury? Bloomsbury. Couldn't find the page. Ugh. Fascism and fashion. It's not there. It's not there. Where's your book at, lady? Oh, it's on Amazon? I don't want to buy it on Amazon, though. Oh, fashion under fascism. Fascism? So the ebook is $28. And the hardback is $103, but the paperback is $35, so 95 cents. I think I'm gonna get the paper copy. Pre-order now? What do you mean pre-order? Okay, it's $35 basically. But I don't want another glitch, so I'm gonna move on. And we're gonna keep talking about Ellen Fisher. We're gonna talk about Ellen Fisher. So basically, she has a mended collection. I'm a texting now. And basically, this mended collection focuses on garments that cannot be fixed or laundered, but are otherwise serviceable. And most garment repairs strive to restore to good as new conditions, which Ellen Fisher also does for customers. But by contrast, the mended approach draws attention to the former flaws with visible mending, such as paneling or patchwork. It echoes the wabi-sabi concept in Japan of finding beauty in flaws. Many clothes can be made whole again, but there is such a thing as too many moth holes. Too many moth holes? Okay. That says for the upcoming mended collection, Ellen Fisher will make about 75 white linen shirts in March, followed by 125 dyed linen shirts in May. It's over-dyeing 250 shirts for April with partner Botanical Colors of Seattle to hide stains. October will feature outerwear, and November will see a cashmere sweater. These collections are very small right now, but if we see lots of interest from our customers, we will start scaling volume. No more clothing. No more overproduction. See, that's the thing. Like, I don't really support sustainable fashion brands because they're still producing stuff. But then again, I'm a sustainable fashion designer, and then I'm gonna like sell like probably 20 things if my collection actually launches. So I'm a bit of a hypocrite. But do we need this collection? That's the question. Do we need this collection? I know I'm a hypocrite. Do they know they're a hypocrite? I'm also only making 20 things. They're making like 75, 125, 250. Like, guys, that's a lot of shit. Or a lot of stuff. Oh gosh. And they also merged 2 linen shirts together. Wow. Nice, nice, cool. We don't need more stuff though. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're just gonna move on. But basically, this article explains how whether or not fashion workers can adapt to climate change. It's by an article called Context. Everyone's asking me for cookies. I got no cookies. But basically, the context of the article says decent annually revised wages could fill part of the financing gap for fashion workers' climate adaptation. So basically, it explains how workers face growing heat and flooding, how fashion workers' hands can help to let them adapt to heat, and the annual pay reviews are needed. So basically, Jason Judd, which is executive director of the ILR Global Labor Institute at Cornell, discusses how workers could be helped to adapt to growing climate hazards. So growing climate risks include extreme weather, which are taking a huge toll on the earnings and health of textile workers in the global south. Jason Judd from Cornell explains that he is a leading expert on the issue, and his research sheds light on the damage caused by the climate crisis in countries that make the latest fashions for richer nations. His team researches Bangladesh, Cambodia, Pakistan, and Vietnam, who sees fashion earnings have fallen by 22% by 2030. So garment workers are basically going to be paid less, and they see more than 1 million jobs lost if there is no urgent climate adaptation. Oh God, I'm getting punished. My bit rate is lower than usual. I love the climate crisis, YouTube. I do. Okay, my stream is healthy again. 50. Okay. I swear, if I start glitching out, YouTube just does not want me to talk about important stuff today. Okay, and it says, Mr. Guy, what's his name again? Jason. Jason says, I think a couple of things are happening. Brands have been slow about adding adaptation to the list of issues they have to deal with. Slow? They don't care, my guy. They don't care at all. But Jason says that's changing, in part because it's difficult for anyone to argue that they should pay attention exclusively to the decarbonization problem and ignore accelerating heat and intense flooding. So basically, brands can't ignore this because their garment workers are dying out of heat strokes and because intense flooding is destroying their factories. Tell us the truth, Mr. Jason. Okay, and then Jason asks what changes are coming about. So he explains, some brands are beginning to establish guidelines and set standards, just as heat is accelerating. The setting of standards and enforcement of the standards should accelerate too. In theory, Mr. Jason, in theory, because no one is holding these brands accountable. And then he further explains that suppliers are reluctant because they're not sure if they can afford to make the investment in adaptation and get a return. It's all about money with them, huh? We're not sure if you should care about this because what if we can't make any money back? Okay. So Jason explains that they're anxious about having a new unfunded mandate from their buyers. Okay, alrighty. I mean, I feel like it's always going to be about money. Brands would just want to make a lot of money, and they don't really care about their workers, to be honest. And the article explains that workers in Dhaka told they're going throughout the night, and they have to sell or pawn their household goods. And their medicine costs go up as high as 10 times in the hottest, most humid months. Dang. Medicare health, man. Medical help is just not there. Wait, do they have governmental health programs like Medicare or Medicaid? No, right? They should. They're like sweating their butts off every night. But look, to the point where like medical places are charging them more for medicine when it's hot because they know they're gonna pay more because they really need it. Are you serious right now? Oh my gosh, it just keeps getting worse and worse, huh? The more I investigate, the more we know, the more I'm mad. Like, what the heck? And there's like price rises, so there's more pressure on workers to afford things. And they're being paid less. Whoa. Let's see, what else does this article say? Let's see what else they say. Tell us more, Jason. So there is a EU corporate sustainability due diligence directive that basically, if it survives, then it makes and establishes an obligation of the buyer to know what's happening in their supply chain. So basically, if a law passes, they'll actually have to make brands know what's happening in their supply chain. Wow, I'm so impressed. What the hell? This is basic things, guys. Buyers and sellers and everyone involved should know what's happening always. And I think they know, but they're not like taking accountability for how they're treating their workers, so they can get away with garment workers experiencing heat strokes and not doing anything about it. But I think that's what's happening, Mr. Jason from Cornell University. That's what's happening. Oh, but they should establish some like fans or like air conditioning in the garment factories. That would help out so much. But I live in Illinois, in a city where there's a lot of factories, and these are American factories, okay? And they don't even have fans in there. Maybe if there is a fan, there's one of them, but it's in a corner and it doesn't even blow out a lot of air. It's just blowing out hot, humid air. So it doesn't really help. Like, we need air conditioning in these factories to maintain a proper temperature for the workers that are constantly moving and bustling about in this assembly line sort of work. Not only are they getting carpal tunnel syndrome and their bodies are getting hurt from the continuous hard labor, but they're getting heat strokes to the point that they're dropping dead, which recently happened in my city last summer. And laws were trying to be passed, but nothing really moved because companies just have millions and millions of dollars and power, and they control the government in our area. So fun times to change stuff in this city. Imagine in these sort of cities. But garment workers and any worker in general that is in hard labor need proper like rest, and they need to have like decent temperatures in their workplace to ensure their safety and their health. And they need water breaks, and they need movement breaks so they don't get their body hurt from the continuous same labor over and over again. Because if you're at a sewing machine, you're just kind of like moving your wrists to the machine, and like your shoulders are like this and stuff. So like all the back pain and arm pain, it needs a break. Like, they need a break. And then the climate crisis is just making things hotter. Brands need to get some air conditioners. Come on, people, air conditioners for the win. We need air conditioners. This is like life and death, but I guess brands just want to be like, I don't know what's happening. I really don't know what's happening, people. I swear. We're innocent as you are. No, they're not. No, they're not. But basically, in Texas, another hot place, I would never want to live in Texas. I would never want to live in Texas. I was actually considering it, but I hate the heat. But there was like a sustainable event recently called SXSW. I don't like saying that acronym. I'm just gonna call it S. Basically, S had an event that inspired fashion sustainability. And it was run by a club called Threading Change, which is a Canada-based ethical nonprofit that focuses on fashion. And they came on Wednesday, and they basically want to have more of a North American presence. And they provided attendees with materials to decorate their S tote bags. And they explained that with fast fashion and ultra fast fashion, you wear your clothing maybe about 2 or 3 times and then just throw it away. And that needs to be changed, basically, they're saying. And it says, but if you put effort into embroidering your name on it, or if you have a cool patch on it, you're likely going to take care of it a bit more. Interesting. So it was held in the Hilton Hotel, and it was attached to the Austin Convention Center. And the event was free and open to everyone to attend without any prior reservation. And the turnout was around 60 people, and they had enough materials for each person to personalize a basic bag. And there was people that brought in their own fabric. So someone says, there's a jean jacket I love to wear, but it can be more interesting with pins on it or something like that. And then alongside upcycling opportunities, attendees were also saying they were worried about their creativity and skills when it came to making their own clothing and accessories. And so the event also inspired a place to just like take up more of their creativity, and they could just like sit and like be calm for a bit and have a break from all the information that they were getting. And it was just like a calm place to have conversations about building a more friendly, eco-friendly environment. And then they got like free drinks. Super nice. I think upcycling and like sustainable fashion can come like in little small moments where we're like doing little cute things or little cute upcycling projects. Like I don't think sustainable fashion is as complicated as everyone makes it out to be. Like this is not a systemic solution, obviously, but it does bring community, and it brings this normalcy to like caring about your stuff. Like even as simple as like putting your name on a tote bag, like I think it makes a huge difference that we don't realize. Because what if every single piece in our wardrobe had our name either embroidered on it or had it printed on a tag that was attached to the clothing? Like I feel like we would be more logically and emotionally connected to our things because we literally have our names on it. We took the time, or someone took the time to put our name on it. Like that sense of ownership is like so needed in a world where like we don't feel like it belongs to us in a way because we're always throwing it away. Like it's just this like random thing that's disposable. But I feel like this cognitive reality of like, okay, it's mine, can reduce the ability of it, the probability of it being thrown away. But that's my assumption, and I think this was the assumption from Threading Change. Like if they feel a bit more ownership, a bit more of a claim to it, maybe it won't be thrown away. There's no guarantee, obviously, but if you spend like an hour or 2 hours on it and it's connected to a memory, then there's like more investment to something. So interesting, very interesting. Threading Change for the win. And to move on, I did see that there was some like greenwashing allegations against Copenhagen Fashion Week. They are known to be a bit more sustainable compared to any other fashion week. They have like sustainability requirements. So this seems to be exploring like how well they actually did. So let's get into that, but I'm gonna put some music. But the one I always use has a commercial. There you go. Cute bunnies. Cute bunnies for the win. Close that tab. I want to go back to the fascism section, but I can't. Oh. Okay, Ellen Fisher, not a win. Okay, let's go here. Glossy. Miss Glossy. Oh. Mr. Robot. Come on, robot. Got this.
Copenhagen Fashion Week has long marketed itself as a leader in sustainability, but a new complaint is threatening to unravel that reputation. Earlier this week, the Danish Consumer Ombudsman, which supervises marketing and consumer protection laws, began reviewing allegations that CPHFW and 7 participating brands, Baumund Fergerten, Berner Kahal, Forza Collective, Herskind, Apera Sport, Stein Goya and 100, were making misleading sustainability claims. If taken to court, the case could have serious implications for fashion weeks beyond Copenhagen's. For example, London Fashion Week modeled parts of its own sustainability framework on CPHFW's guidelines.
Some brands made misleading sustainability claims. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is serious, peoples. Why would you lie, though? Guys, come on. You had one job. Why would you do this to us? We don't trust people in general in the fashion industry. Now you're gonna lie to us? You're supposed to be the good ones. You're supposed to be the good ones. Come on, robot voice. Read it.
The complaint, filed by anti-greenwashing expert Tanya Gotthardsson and the Danish Consumer Council, takes direct aim at the sustainability requirements CPHFW introduced for participating designers in 2020. These set minimum standards across 6 areas, including materials, working conditions, consumer engagement and show production. Brands are required to use at least 50% certified sustainable textiles and commit to ethical labor practices. But Gotthardsson and the Danish Consumer Council argue these guidelines lack enforcement, allow vague sustainability claims, and fail to address major environmental issues like brands' overproduction and collection frequency. They call them requirements, but when looking at them through the lens of actual sustainability science, a lot is missing, she said.
So guidelines lack enforcement, allow vague sustainability claims, and fail to address major environmental issues. Well, I wonder, like, how well they were vetting these claims before they were allowed to be featured in Copenhagen Fashion Week. So the article then explains that there's a screening committee that looks at the brands approved. And then they did see some violations of Danish greenwashing laws almost immediately. She identified 7 brands with misleading sustainability claims, including vague language around organic cotton's impact and the labeling of synthetic materials as green. Oh no! How dare they? The hell? And then she says, it made me question whether the requirements were being enforced at all. Critical thinking skills to the win, for the win. So they admitted to Echo, a Danish news publication, that they've fallen short on their pledge to eliminate virgin polyester. And then they explained to another publication called Euroman that some of its marketing could have been clear and pledged to change it. Neither brand was reachable for comment, and other brands mentioned in the complaint, including Stein Goya and Opera Sport, have been silent. They've been silent. No. So they get to present their collection lie and not like face the reality of what they've done, even if it's just allegations. But if it was allegations, and okay, let's say I was a brand, okay, that was featured in the Copenhagen Fashion Week. There's allegations that I've lied or like greenwashed. Why would I stay silent? I feel like the silence shows your guilt, because if I was innocent, I would say, hey, like, I'm not innocent, here's the proof, because I don't have anything to hide, there's everything to show. But if you're silent, I feel like there's something is happening, basically. Something is being hidden. But basically, Copenhagen Fashion Week promoted that these brands were sustainable fashion brands. They explain that's simply not legal under Danish consumer law. It's misleading not just to consumers, but the industry itself. Yeah, it's very insidious. It's very insidious. So the CEO of Copenhagen Fashion Week pushed back against the allegations and says that the organizations that the organization does not market its sustainability requirements as guarantees. What? No, they literally, that was their whole thing. They said, this is like sustainable fashion, this is a sustainable fashion week. But now they're saying it's not a guarantee. But it was like what it was known for. She says, I have not yet seen the complaint, but I can categorically reject that Copenhagen Fashion Week is engaging in greenwashing. We do not control how the media chooses to describe our sustainability efforts. Oh God, girl. Cecily, please do better. You literally said they were sustainable fashion brands, girl. What the hell are you doing? Oh my God. But honestly, personally, I agree that it was like misleading because I literally thought it was a sustainable fashion week in Copenhagen. And then another person explains that they mostly promoted these requirements extensively, like they use this as a marketing tool. And now they're trying to distance themselves from that, but the fact remains that the requirements have been used as a promotional asset for years. Yeah, I also saw that. They market it as entirely sustainable fashion. Now they're like, no, never mind, it's not a guarantee. The heck? The heck? And also, the article notes that Copenhagen Fashion Week's sustainability guidelines have influenced those of other major fashion weeks, including Berlin and London. If Danish regulators determine these guidelines don't hold up legally, fashion weeks elsewhere may need to rethink their own sustainability claims before consumer watchdogs start knocking. And Copenhagen Fashion Week may face more than just fines. Its sustainability requirements could be reworked or revoked, brand participation and sponsorships could be at risk, and its reputation as a sustainability leader could take a major hit, forcing a fundamental overhaul of its framework. Yes, I agree. Watchdogs for the win with this one. The heck is the CEO doing saying, sustainability is not a guarantee? You just ruined everything, my girl. That's the whole point of what you're doing and what you're known for. And the article ends off by saying that industry needs to stop treating sustainability as a branding exercise. If this case proves anything, it's that consumers and regulators are no longer willing to take vague commitments at face value. Yes, queen or king. I don't know what their gender is. Why am I disappointed as always? Why am I disappointed? Alrighty. So, going on to good leaders in sustainable fashion, basically, there is a thrift club that's doing amazing work. So let's go on to positive news. Positive news. Come on, computer. Alright, so this was an article by Long Beach Current, and basically explains that there's a Long Beach State Thrift Club that has bi-weekly meetings, community events, and a recently released new fashion magazine. And it's basically being led by students and engaging their community. So this is the editor of Thrift Club Magazine, who holds up a copy of Thrift Volume 1 at the club's flea market and magazine launch event on February 20th. It's like being covered up by this thing, but there she is. There she is. And then the article explains where we see some hand-me-downs and discarded clothing, others see fashion, sustainability, and community. 2 months a time, a safe haven for those who share a common love for fashion and upcycling takes shape in Long Beach State's Thrift Club. Nice. It was founded in 2023. And there's 5 original board members under the leadership of club president and founder by Samuel Moreno, 20, who set out with the goals of bringing awareness to the fashion industry and creating a safe place for avid thrifters and crafters alike. I think it's a guy, Samuel says, I was like, we really need a cool, fashionable, fun community. I thought this was the perfect thing. It's environmentally conscious, gives students an alternative who have little money, and it's just a cool place to hang out. They're so cool. They look so cool. What the heck? I want to be part of them. Let me go back to college and be part of them. So 22-year-old Willis, the treasurer and co-founder of Thrift Club, says he loves thrifting and did it out of necessity. Oh, it's two guy founders. I love that. I think it's them, this one and this one. Sustainable fashion kings. I love it. So it explains that Willis, within his sophomore year of high school, describes that he realized he was beginning to outgrow what was in his closet. He explains you can't just wait every Christmas and birthday to get a gift card in regard to the high prices of clothing. So me and my friends were like, oh, we can just go thrifting, right? And I found some really good places. And his last name is Atkinson, like others, enjoy not only the lower price tags he found, but the longevity and sustainability of the clothing. And he speaks against fast fashion and the waste it produces. And together, the group, the Thrift Club, wrote and produced a club magazine called Thrift, Home of Sustainable Style, as an outlet to voice opinions and give inspiration to the community. He says, I noticed that as the officers were putting on each of our meetings, sharing all of this information, whether it be styling or sustainability, it needed to be documented. Thrift Club Secretary Megan Wilson says, oh, so Megan said this. As people come and go, this knowledge we have worked so hard to, what? As people come and go, this knowledge we have worked so hard to share doesn't disappear. Nice. I know this was not AI written, because that was a rough sentence. So this is guests flipping through Thrift Volume 1 for the first time at the Thrift Club Flea Market and Magazine launch. Oh my god, they're so cool. What the heck? I need this magazine now. So alongside their new magazine, the club says they plan to build on their website to share future editions with as many students as possible. And since its inception 2 years ago, the club has grown from 5 to 17 board members and holds nearly 200 members who attend their bi-weekly Tuesday night meetings. Oh my god, that's so cool. And this is their Instagram. It's through a university. Oh, that's so cool. They have a flea market. They had a flea market on the 16th. Oh, good coffee, good shops, and good vibes. And then they have like a whole schedule going. They have meetings, and then they have their launch. They have their magazine launch, having general meetings, flea market. That's so cool. These ads, man. I'm gonna follow them. Wait, what is this? Oh, they have their meetings in a coffee club, in a coffee place. Oh, nice. Long Beach, California, they're at.
My name is Mickey.
So where did you hear about Casket Doodles?
So I actually had a friend message me on Instagram and she was letting me know that
Wow, they do brand deals? That's super cool. Okay, I'm gonna move on just for the sake of time. And my computer is dying. But let's go on to the next thing. So basically I also saw that there was a collaboration made with Stella McCartney and Imperial to basically bring more sustainable fashion to the catwalk. So this Imperial brand is called Sequinova basically, and it's like a plant-based sequins. I wonder if there's like a YouTube video about this or something so we can watch it. It was on a fashion show that they debuted this, I think. Let's see. I don't think there is anything out there yet. Stella McCartney and Sequinova. No, there's not. Sad moments. So it's just this article, but basically Sequinova is a member of something called the Greenhouse, which is a leading innovation accelerator. And basically it's a plant-based sequence that was used in McCartney's Autumn-Winter 2025 runway show during Paris Fashion Week. So you can look at her show just to look at the sequence, but basically 2 hand-embroidered mini dresses debuted at the show will be commercially available later this year, making the first time the customer will be able to purchase bio-based sequin garments. And the Sequinova sequins are derived from sustainably sourced wood and utilize a green chemical process, providing a much-needed solution to this pressing global environmental and health issue. So the plant-based sequins are metal-free, mineral-free, and non-toxic. And they're working to... Oh my god, I need a drink. And they're working to not have any microfibers be released through the work. So that's super cool. So they have a wide color palette. Nice, nice. Let's look at that. All the sequins are plant-based. So this is a show. That's a commercial. Pause the music. Let's get back to that. 3, 2, 1, blah. That's just a suit. I also want to note that Stella McCartney is super known for their sustainable fashion looks. A lot of celebrities wear them, and they do have a lot of like sustainability practices. So I'm not too surprised to hear about the plant-based sequin partnership, but a lot of celebrities do wear them for like red carpets or like other visible things that they do. So they're really respected within the fashion world. Oh, passed it. You can thrift the big one and then cinch it at the waist. And there you go. Still in the carton vines. I want to thrift everything. Every time I see something, I'm like, I can thrift this. We can like use a blanket and make a coat out of it. Blanket coat. It's like a shoulder pad moment, an extreme shoulder pad moment. You can thrift this too. Take a big suit and just put it on. I wonder what you could hold in those bags though. Like honestly, what could you carry? I love the shoes. I don't know what that is. I feel like I'm looking at an 80s fashion show with the shoulder pads or something. These are some huge shoulder pads. so sorry. The waistline is so low. What is that belt doing all the way down there? Just a lot of coats. Where's the sequence at? It looks like a mop sweater. Mops and mops and mops and mops. Yeehaw, cowboy vibes. Looking at Texas. Yeehaw. I don't like any of these. Do you guys like this collection? I just find it so ugly. What are we looking at? The boots with the bread with the colors. Oh gosh, this jacket is scary. Okay, we're gonna go to the sequence section and then we're gonna move on. The computer's dying. We can thrift all of this, guys. We can do it. We can do this. We can thrift it. It's like giving Men in Black vibes. Okay, these are the plant-based sequins. Ooh, shiny. This one's cool. It's giving piñata. What? What happened? What is that? Wait. Wait, we gotta look at her face again. There's a person. Look at her face. She's so annoyed. It's like she got the wrong seat at the fashion show. Okay, I think we've seen all of them. That's super cool to see. I'm sure that most of the pieces will be seen by celebrities. Stella McCartney's just like a huge player in the industry. A lot of celebrities love her. So I'm not surprised, even if it's an absurd sort of like structure to the body, what she's done, people are still gonna wear it. The shoulder pads were like crazy, but that's the new trend, I think. I've been seeing it everywhere. But to close off, some of the other things that I saw was that there is actually a sustainable fashion designer in Miami who is using her clothing as a way to confront the climate crisis. So let's get into that before my computer dies off. It has 5%, so I'm probably gonna move out, or like end the stream basically in like a couple minutes. But it's been a really fun one, and it's probably gonna be one of my longest ones as well. But basically, a Miami teenage fashion designer is confronting the climate crisis by upcycling. So we can actually listen to the article.
Miami's teenage fashion designers are confronting the climate crisis by upcycling hotel sheets and beet juice. Those are the materials design and architecture senior high school student Eric Rodriguez used to create a garment inspired by fungi evolution. The ensemble consisted of a mushroom red corset and a layered skirt of hotel linens dyed with beets. Rodriguez, 16, is part of a growing generation of designers making an imprint on Miami's fashion scene by making less of an imprint on the environment. By upcycling discarded textiles, students from schools like Dash, Barbara Goleman, Coral Gables and Miami senior high schools are designing runway-ready looks that make a statement on the fashion industry's contributions to the climate crisis. They presented their garments at Miami-Dade College's annual Upcycle Challenge competition this past December. I really like making stuff out of nothing, Rodriguez said. Giving value to something that's been thrown away, or something that's not seen as valuable to someone anymore, and remaking it into something one-of-a-kind or multiple iterations of it, I think it's really beautiful. It has a story. It gives it a life. The sustainable fashion movement has been growing for years, and South Florida native Gabriella Smith was pivotal in bringing it to local classrooms. Today, Smith is the founder of the nonprofit Upcycle Project and a partner of MDC's Upcycle Challenge. Design students are so creative and unafraid, Smith told WLRN. They don't mind making mistakes, and so, they're not jaded. They're just willing to explore. Smith hosted a panel of the judges evaluating young designers' upcycled garments at the December showcase. The competition was part of a larger event challenging high school students to master skills that would serve them in the workplace. Kennedy Parker and Lola Amaz, students at Barbara Goleman Senior High School, created an ode to the colorful architecture of Spain and Miami, with a twist. We had to be very creative with this project, Kennedy said. We used a robe that was donated for the top, so that adds a lot of texture to the top. And then we also have a little trim, and it's really giving Spanish mosaic. Students from Coral Gables Senior High School got creative, as well. Fawzat Hafid created a pink and yellow sunset dress ornamented by a series of intricate ruffles. I used napkins and bed sheets and comforters and old hotel jackets, Fawzat said. The student designers were competing for a full-ride scholarship to Miami Fashion Institute. How the Upcycle Project got its start. Smith's journey started years ago, when she had an epiphany while working in the beauty industry. I witnessed a lot of destruction of beauty products that didn't sell in certain retailers. I saw that and I was like, that's odd, Smith said. Why would they destroy these perfectly good perfumes? I wonder if fashion brands do this, too. Smith began looking into the issue. She learned that by the time a piece of clothing reaches the market, brands have already discarded batches of faulty products. It's under the tab of, we want to protect our brand, and if these products go out into the marketplace, then our brand will be damaged, Smith explained. But they don't take into consideration all of the resources that were already used to make these products that are now going into the landfill. Smith's first attempts at working with fashion brands proved unfruitful. She said she was frustrated with companies' lack of transparency about the details of their production process. So, she started the Upcycle Project. Through circular solutions that bring discarded materials back into the fashion cycle, the project works with brands and design schools nationwide to make the case for a more sustainable and transparent industry. The issue of textile waste ending up in landfills is especially relevant in South Florida, where the hospitality industry uses large amounts of fabric for uniforms, sheets, towels, napkins, and other supplies. The Upcycle project works closely with local businesses to repurpose these textiles. The endeavor includes donating fabric to high school classrooms for the Upcycle Challenge competition, which allows her to teach designers about the importance of sustainability early. One such classroom is Sandra Baloney's fashion design class at Miami Senior High. Baloney is adamant on introducing sustainability to her students. "It's very important, because they are the future," she said. "They're the one that's going to take on this challenge and bring it to fruition. I teach that a lot in my lessons in my classroom, because as we stand right now, we have a crisis. And fashion is definitely one of the culprits in terms of how we create, how we construct. And the winner is." Once all the students had displayed their looks at Miami-Dade College's annual Upcycle Challenge, it was time to announce the winners. From long flowy beaded skirts inspired by the beach to deconstructed suits that play on gender norms, the designers went all out. It was Eric Rodriguez who won first place. The entire room roared in applause for the 16-year-old designer. Teary-eyed, Eric shared the significance of this level of recognition and what comes next. "It's very emotional, because I stayed up one whole night, till like 5 in the morning, and I've been working hard, and it means a lot to me," Eric said. "I would really want to pursue fashion even more. I love fashion. I love just creating stuff," Eric said. "And if I can see myself anywhere in fashion, I'm happy." With these young designers on the rise, designers driven to create something out of nothing, the future of fashion might just be in the right hands. This story was reported, produced and photographed by Niall Jones, a high school student intern with WLRN News. Jones is a senior at Design and Architecture Senior High in Miami's Design District.
Also, the article didn't read out, but Eric basically won a full ride to Miami Fashion Institute by winning this Upcycle Challenge. He won a full ride to Miami Fashion Institute by creating an amazing upcycled sustainable fashion collection at 16 years old. 16. So his trajectory in college was especially created because he upcycled clothing. You know the impact that has? Like, he's not going to forget this for the rest of his life. Like, he got a full ride because he upcycled clothing into a collection. That's amazing. And honestly, like, we have to take examples of Gabriela because she is partnering with universities to do this. Her program is essentially not only shaping students and learning how to like create clothing, but also like how to upcycle things, how to look at things differently, and then giving them an opportunity from this interest, from this lens. I think it's so strategic, and I think we need more of this every single place that we can get our hands on. Like, imagine if this was happening in Virginia, imagine if this was happening in Illinois and New York, where we have initiatives that help students get into schools from like upcycling things, from curating fashion shows around sustainability. That's just amazing. She's doing something right, and she is like one of the leaders that I always try to like uplift. Like, these are the type of people that we need to be talking about, because college is so expensive. Finding opportunities is just rare nowadays. And then to get a full ride at 16, that's literally life-changing. Miami Fashion Institute. Wow, that's so cool to see. So this is such a great story. I'm gonna end here. There's other things that we can obviously talk about, but I'll save those for Friday. But I actually may end up only live streaming once a week. I've been struggling with my YouTube content creation, and I also do podcast episodes. So what I've been thinking is uploading a podcast episode every Wednesday, uploading a normal YouTube video every Sunday, and then live streaming only on Tuesdays from like maybe 3:30 until, let's say, 6:37. So like a longer live stream. I think you guys will like that. And Tuesdays seem to be a very popular day where people jump on. So that may actually end up happening. I'll post it on my YouTube posts and then on my Instagram if you want to follow me there. But this has been an amazing live stream. I've never had so many people watch me at the same time. 6 people is a lot, honestly. I've been a bit nervous. But thank you everyone for watching and supporting. It's been a really rough week for me personally. So this is really just a very I don't know, emotional thing for me to see. But I'm gonna go now. Thank you so much for supporting, and I'll see you in the next live stream. Thank you so much. Bye.